We're learning disturbing new details about a family tragedy with 3 deadly crime scenes.
This crushed Porsche Cayenne, the deadly end of a trail of violence. The mother behind the wheel, 34-year-old Danielle Johnson, taking her own life by slamming into a tree in Redondo Beach after allegedly 2 others, including her 8-month-old daughter, when she threw the infant and her 9-year-old sister out of the car on the freeway.
She then forcibly pushed her out of the vehicle in the middle of the freeway while moving, while the 9-year-old was holding the 8-month-old baby.
The 9-year-old managed to make it to the shoulder with moderate injuries. A horrifying ending to carnage that began hours earlier for the sole survivor of the violence. Her final act, crashing into a tree at more than 100 miles per hour. Detectives still searching for a motive.
What it do, what the business is, folks? It's your boy That Way with Jack Travis to be precise. We back in the building again, man, you understand? This time we got to talk about some wild crime out here, man. It's been a couple episodes since I jumped into some crime. You all may have heard about this story. It's been going crazy out here on the interwebs. It seems to be wrapped around this eclipse on Monday. I myself got to view the eclipse. I was out in my part of life where I'm pursuing some higher level things in this medical industry. And my professor also wanted to take a look at it, a gander. So we all went outside and checked it out. And fun fact, I stared right at it. I'm stupid. I had no idea that you weren't supposed to, but shit, you know. I looked at it, and then I grabbed some glasses. In fact, I've got a series of photos that led up to me pulling off a successful photo of the eclipse with my phone, with the shaded glasses in front of the phone. That was it for me. That's all I got out of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not an enlightened individual, what have you. But there are people out here, man, that treated that eclipse as if it was going to be some type of earth-shaking, mind-altering event. And in the particular case of what we have going on, apparently it was a mind-altering event for this one young lady, one Danielle Johnson of California. Now, I won't get too much into spoiling it. I'll get ready to let this this clip from the ABC News out there run, and then we'll pick it up from there, man, and we'll go a little deep into this thing. Let's go.
We're learning disturbing new details about a family tragedy with 3 deadly crime scenes. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has more on the tragic timeline.
This crushed Porsche Cayenne, the deadly end of a trail of violence. The mother behind the wheel, 34-year-old Danielle Johnson, taking her own life by slamming into a tree in Redondo Beach after allegedly killing 2 others, including her 8-month-old daughter, when she threw the infant and her 9-year-old sister out of the car on the freeway.
The suspect slowed the vehicle and opened the passenger door for her daughter and then told her to get out of the car. And when the daughter didn't do that, she then forcibly pushed her out of the vehicle in the middle of the freeway while moving, while the 9-year-old was holding the 8-month-old baby.
The baby fell to the pavement and was struck and killed by a passing vehicle. The 9-year-old managed to make it to the shoulder with moderate injuries. A horrifying ending to carnage that began hours earlier for the sole survivor of the violence. Eyewitness News has learned the 9-year-old witnessed her mother stab her live-in boyfriend, 29-year-old Jalen Cheney, to death in their Woodland Hills apartment.
That little girl obviously saw more than she ever should have seen in any life yesterday. So I just hope someone's taking care of her because she's going to need it.
Investigators say Johnson killed Cheney early Monday morning after a fight, then rammed the garage gate as she fled with her daughters. Detectives say a short time later, Johnson pushed the little girls out of her car on the 405 and drove away. Her final act, crashing into a tree at more than 100 miles per hour. Detectives still searching for a motive.
Given that the only witness we really have to this crime now is a 9-year-old girl, there's just very little information we have other than there was a verbal altercation that turned violent and it ended in tragedy.
The 9-year-old is now in the care of the Department of Children and Family Services. Her father lives out of state. It is unclear if Cheney was the father of the 8-month-old who was killed.
All right, so we just saw that news coverage, man. I've got some things to read to go a little deeper into it, man, and just give us some more clues as to what's going on. Let's start with just the article at hand, entitled Timeline, How Suspected murder-suicide unfolded, leaving Woodland Hills couple and baby dead. All right. Woodland Hills, California. Investigators on Wednesday continued to search for answers in connection with the suspected murder-suicide that began in Woodland Hills and ended in Redondo Beach, leaving a couple and a baby dead and a 9-year-old girl as the family's sole survivor. Here's a timeline of how the string of horrific events unfolded across a time span of several hours earlier this week. All right, so overnight Sunday, neighbors of Danielle Sherkiah Johnson, 34, and Jalen Cheney, 29, heard a loud argument coming from the couple's Woodland Hills apartment in the middle of the night. 3:40 a.m. Monday. According to authorities, Johnson is suspected of fatally stabbing Cheney, her live-in boyfriend, inside the residence before fleeing with her 2 young daughters in a dark-colored Porsche Cayenne. Johnson rammed the apartment building's gate as she drove away in the SUV, investigators said. And I saw a part that said homie was sitting on the couch and she ran up on him and started stabbing. The 9-year-old girl witnessed the homicide 4:30 a.m. The mother and 2 children were in the SUV on the 405 freeway in the Westchester area when Johnson slowed the moving vehicle, opened the passenger door, and told her daughter to get out of the car. And when the daughter didn't do that, she then forcibly pushed her out of the vehicle in the middle of the freeway while moving, while the 9-year-old was holding the 8-month-old baby. The infant fell onto the pavement and was fatally struck by a passing vehicle, authorities said. Good Samaritans found the children on the highway and called 911. Emergency responders pronounced the baby dead at the scene, and her older sister was transported to a hospital. The surviving child was later placed in the custody of Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services. 5 a.m. After Johnson allegedly forced the children out of the car, sources said she headed to Redondo Beach, where she reached speeds of more than 100 miles an hour. The SUV slammed into a tree on the corner of an intersection, and Johnson was pronounced dead at the scene. 7:30 a.m. A 26-year-old woman, neighbor of Cheney, and who lives in the building, discovered the bloody scene. She said the door was wide open. There was blood on the floor leading to the apartment and a trail of it in the hallway leading up to the elevator. And I saw some blood on the walls. Her father called the police and told them that something was not right. They told me when I spoke to MD to go in and check the body, so I did, adding that Cheney was deceased. He was face down on the floor and there was a lot of blood. Aftermath. The search for a motive in the horrific incidents is ongoing. The only witness we have for this crime now is the 9-year-old girl. There's just very little information we have other than there was a verbal altercation that turned violent and ended in tragedy. All right, so when I heard about this, I went looking around because this is crazy. I'm like, what? And actually, I heard of the reasoning before I got to the article. So I'm like, because I actually saw a tweet that someone put out, and he made a disparaging remark about her and what he called her name in light of the events that had unfolded. And so I went to digging, man. Right? So I go to Twitter. I go in and I find her page. Her page on Twitter is Ayoka, Mystic Lipstick. She was kind of pop. She had over 100,000 followers. But she was an astrologist, astronomer, or whatever in the hell. I don't think she went to school for it. She was just someone that thought that they knew what the planet alignments and all that meant. Chicks are into that, man. That whole zodiac sign thing, crystals and energy and shit like that. But she was apparently deep off in it, man. I'm scrolling back as far as her page, and it's confusing because, on one hand, you'll see her assault the Jewish community and say that they're running Hollywood and this, that, and the third about Jews. Like right here, I see, she reposted something about Jewish-owned Hollywood is promoting pedophilia. Something from the Franklin Prophecy, which is apparently an anti-Semitic speech. But she had a lot of things to say. But it's like, at one point, you'll see where she retweets something from Alex Jones, as if she agrees with him. But then, a couple of tweets later, you'll see something where she says something about white supremacy and What? Spirit cooking, selling your body to sell your soul. It's what has fueled this evil and sick reality. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Say no to anything that degrades people of color. White supremacy is to kill humanity. So that and retweeting a person like Alex Jones doesn't coincide. Colin Rugg. Now we're getting into the reasoning, right? She retweeted something from Colin Rugg. If you don't know Colin Rugg, he's a chud. But he tweeted something out about breaking. U.S. intelligence officials are warning of violence targeting mass gatherings days before millions gather to watch the eclipse. The FBI and Homeland Security are increasingly worried about threats from ISIS and lone wolves in the U.S. Now, unfortunately, since the days of Donald Trump, and people that have nothing better to do, they actually fell in the rabbit hole of a guy that saw how gullible they were. Ron Watkins is who I think has been proven pretty much to be the guy behind Q. He's behind this personality called Q that was supposedly a high-ranking government official in the time of Donald Trump's presidency, and let this guy tell it. He was exposing all of the secrets of the deep state. That's where the Pizzagate comes. The Jewish spatial angles of the Marjorie Taylor Greene kind. Like I said, Pizzagate, some of the dumbest theories. Apparently, JFK is still alive. I don't even know how people I don't see how they take themselves seriously, man. It's like their family has got to disown them. But click around the internet and you'll see many a fool talking about the dumbest things. There are many times outside of Trump's rallies, you see Luke Beasley's and I forget the other guy I just started watching. But there's a lot of people that go out there and interview these people. Walter Masterson, I think, is one. There's a couple of them. And people just say the dumbest things online, man. They believe the dumbest things. But again, QAnon is a real thing. And, of course, they had their opinions in a bunch about this eclipse, swearing that I don't know that it either, the aliens were going to invade, maybe Putin's going to unleash a nuke. Now, understand an eclipse only, the actual, when the moon is directly in front of the sun, that only happens for a couple of seconds. So unless someone had a attack plan for a precise set of seconds, I don't even think it was a big deal. But a lot of things that people on that side make a big deal out of are not issues. But again, she was retweeting things like that. That prompted her within the last, because I actually scrolled all the way back to January of her account, and she's been on it. So I don't know if she heard about the eclipse back then and was on it, but she was definitely along the lines of being weird about this whole thing, man. She made a post. I saw this post here. Wake up, wake up. The apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. If you believe a new world is possible for the people, retweet now. There's power in choice. There's power in choice. Repost to make the choice for the collective. I'm not sure who the collective is. This is an instance when reader community notes come into play. It goes on to read, the solar eclipse of 2024 did not bring an apocalypse. I'm sure we can all see that. Danielle Johnson, known as Ayoka, suffered an unfortunate mental break that led to a murder-suicide of herself, her partner, and their 8-month-old child as a result of her conspiracy theory. Now, nice looking lady. I don't know if that's got anything to do with her mental illness. Well, actually, it doesn't. Look, here we go. This is the one I want to when I mentioned Q. Q the Storm. I didn't even do myself the pledge of clicking into this account, but she retweeted this alert. This is the final warning. Turn notifications on. Do not look at the eclipse. Well, ma'am, I looked at the eclipse. Nothing happened. Something big is coming. It was not. It did not. It's an eclipse that happens, every 17 years, something like that. Wild story, man. I'm trying not to make a joke of it. This was a big one also that she tweeted. This eclipse is the epitome of spiritual warfare. Get your protection and your heart in the right place. The world is very obviously changing right now, and if you ever needed to pick a side, the time to do right in your life is now. Stay strong. You got this. It's such a two-sided deal because it's like she was for the good of humanity and getting your heart right and being in the right place. But then she went on the murderous rampage before the eclipse even happened. It may have been different if the eclipse happened and then she was like, oh, some bullshit, and then just went to doing and killing and doing. But it's weird. But again, apparently she had some kind of some mental issues that were made her susceptible to an actual psychotic break. Man, stabs a boyfriend, kills him, pushes a 9-year-old daughter out on the freeway while the 9-year-old is holding the 8-month-old child. 8-month-old falls in traffic, run over by another car, dead. Mom then accelerates to speeds of over 100 miles an hour and obliterates a tree. Story over. Take care of your people, man. Look out into them. And I don't know how much you can do for a person that has those kind of things going on in their heads. There's probably not a lot you can do. You probably try to love them and end up in a bad situation. That's what it sounded like. It happened to homie and the children. They just they were unfortunate victims, man. They're too young to make anything happen in that situation. But yeah, man. Wow. So like I said, look after your people, bro. We do not need this. That was just that was one of the sickest, craziest things I've heard this year. That way with Jack Travis, man. I'll get with y'all soon.